Hey y'all, welcome to the Daily Smoke Special Edition for Pride. Happy Pride Month, Houston, Texas. We have just celebrated the 45th anniversary of the Houston Pride Parade, brought to you by Pride Houston Inc., Extra Pride Houston 365. First, before we get started, I want to shout out to all of our amazing, incredible sponsors like Banging 832 Radio. Make sure you go to www.banging832.com to catch some previous shows of the Daily Smoke at 7 p.m. on Sundays. Kudos to Tamia Such Care, massage therapy, and personal trainer. Tamia Anderson is bringing everybody to a place of relief. So if you want to get with life, get a massage. TamiaAnderson.com. Put my microphone on. The original Buy Black Marketplace, Black Vendor Market, Book, and Art Fair. The ultimate pop-up experience every first and third Saturday, free to the public. A nominal fee for the vendors at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, 5309 MLK Boulevard. Catch it and make sure you look for my girls in Ashe. Puff Puff, Pass It, CBD, and more, 4130 and a half Cavalcade, Houston, Texas, 77026. Check out Puff Pass It on Instagram at Puff Pass It _CBD and more. Facebook, same. Twitter, Puff Pass It CBD. Website is puffpassit20.wixsite.com/mysite. You can even click the hyperlink on our website, thedailysmoke.com. Last but not least, thedailysmoke.com. Make sure you visit so you can see the wonderful, incredible businesses that have all been represented here on this show. As you know, this is the People's Podcast. We're always welcoming anybody who wants to let anybody know what they do so we can continue to. And to keep us going, y'all, $TD Smoke on Cash App, or hit up the Daily Smoke at tha.daily.smoke@gmail.com if you'd like to make a cash or a check donation. Toiletries for Families is walking into the 13th year of service in Houston, Texas. And in that time, it served over 62,000 families in 29 states and 9 countries. We are so proud of what is going on. It's okay. So, we are currently recruiting from Houston, Tampa, and Phoenix for support for our back-to-school dignified distribution, where individuals who are entering the pubescent stage of life can do so with dignity, without pause. If you would like to make a contribution, you can contact tffserves@gmail.com or visit tffserves.org. Additionally, I want to shout out to Pride Houston. Pride Houston put on the 45th annual Pride Parade in downtown Houston this past Saturday, and I think my voice still sounds like this a little bit because of all the time it took to put that together and to volunteer. Volunteers are what make Pride Houston run, and a lot of times there are unmet ways of meeting expectations to show appreciation. But what I am is grateful as fuck for the people who stood outside in the heat on Saturday, passing out water, showing people where to go hydrate, where to feel cooler, allowing people to know where they could go, where they could stand, where they could sit, where to drive their big old trailers of amazing Pride celebrating equipment. But more so, I'm really, really grateful that we were able to serve alongside the president and board of Pride Houston. Like, it's one thing to be a governing board, but when your board is committed to serve too, like, man, shout out to Rain and Dex and Wendy. Of all the calamity all of us have experienced, as all of you, we came together and we celebrated our Pride out loud, and it was so beautiful. I think that one way we can just start this show with Pride is to show that I have with me people that I met not even a month ago, y'all. Like, it hasn't even been 4 weeks. But from the instant that we met Marissa and learned that she had a heart of service, and I invited her to the first opening event for Pride celebration this month of the Pride Market, and she brought
Jensen.
and Jensen had a great time with us, and then we got
Jelly.
and she came out and volunteered like with a whole heart. So welcome to the Daily Smoke. This is the People's Podcast, our Pride edition. I am your host, the Word Musician. Jensen, how do you fit in this act of service, and why does it matter to you?
So I am an ally. I've been knowing Miss Marissa for a good minute now. And it all started just out of barber school, and it all led to where we're at today. You know, and it's really been an honor just to serve the community, and honestly, it was a first experience for me. I've never been to Pride, but honestly, I'm gonna be there next.
I love it. I love it. What was your favorite part?
Honestly, whenever we got to see people's faces and just connect, and it's people that I've never seen before, and they welcome me with an arms.
Yeah. All we need is love, right? Indeed. What about you, Joey? How did you feel about it?
Well, I'm an ally. I ended up in the community because my best friend is part of the LGBT community. I grew up seeing her struggle and everything, try to open up and actually come out to everybody, like not only our family but friends. So from there, growing up, seeing all that, it just made me like support a lot more and help, not really push her, but help her get out there as much as she can. That was also my first time at Pride. I had always wanted to go. I had never had the chance to. And because of them, I was actually able to go as well. So it was just
What do you think about it?
It was a blast. I was glad that I was able to help volunteer and help bring things out there for people. I'm just a giving person, so the fact that I was able to help out and get to see everybody have fun, that's
Okay. What about you, Marissa?
Marissa. Yeah, that's me. Lesbian, she, her, right? Man, it was the first time, of course, I've been to Pride. I grew up in the southwest side of Haley, Texas. You know what I'm saying? And you know who you are. So I grew up in the SWAT, and the experience that led to Pride to even begin with was the fact that, well, let me prefix this with I've been in the service industry all my life. When I say service industry, I mean I served tables, I was a bartender, and if I could have made that a career, I would have, and thank God for all the lifetime servers out there because we need those as well. But what a humbling experience it has been to see the transgression of how things have evolved, right? I knew I loved serving tables, and the highlight of that was being a part of a connection that was happening, right? If people are religious, whatever philosophy you subscribe to, Jesus came down as a servant, so it's one of the most humbling things you can do. And to be a part of somebody's meal, which is so personal, right? Then we moved forward, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And, somebody had suggested barbering because I was obsessed with hair. And then here I come, 31 years old, and I met Jensen in barber school. And, that was a really cool experience because we bonded right away. We had a lot of the same mindset. And then after barber school, we just stayed in connection, and we built during COVID, actually, it caused everybody to be creative, right? You're in a home and you're forced to do what you're doing. And I read this quote, and it said, if you don't come out of this with a new hobby, a new business, or some kind of elevation in your mind, then it wasn't really time you lacked, it was discipline, right? And when I heard that, you felt that, right? And when I heard that, I was like, man, that's when I started ordering tattoo stuff because we couldn't cut anymore because we were not essential,
But you were so
we were essential. People were cutting their own hair, Point is, we started Faded HTX, and what we wanted to come out was like an educational team because we found that a lot of people, like where we went to barber school, no disrespect, but we weren't taught. And so we were like, how do we elevate this community? And so whenever we did that, we came out of COVID. A mentor of mine reached out to me in a place where I really needed because I was really depressed at the time. And so and that was in 2021. And a mentor reached out for me to come back as a guest speaker. And then afterwards, I enrolled, and I didn't believe in the no-cost program at Northwest Educational Center, which is now where we work. And then it just kind of went from there. Jensen and I did that because we needed that. We needed the educator's license in order to pursue our avenue.
Yeah.
And then we believed in what Northwest offered because when I was in high school, I'm 37. When I was in high school, you got the option of either go to the military or go to college. And I knew that wasn't for me because of my learning styles, my learning abilities. Not that I'm not smart, I'm just smart in a different way, And so then we started really believing in that no cost. And then we kind of started an outreach team. And it was to kind of elevate the Houston community. It started off Mr. Anthony Sanchez. I'm going to give him a shout out. Okay. It started off with Anthony. He came in and he was a student of ours. And he was like, why don't we do a free cuts for the community? And we were like, man, that sounds beautiful. We should start doing that. So we did an event, and it was like a 200 people event, right? And then we were like, man, that worked. Like, look how beautiful that was. So many people turned out. So many people, you know, as a byproduct, we did get enrollments. But to say we're a no-cost education, right? So in order for the cycle to continue to give it at no cost, we have to have enrollments. So as a byproduct of just something doing fine without even the intention of getting enrollments, we started having people enroll.
Wow.
And then we were like, man. So then we did a bigger event. So we did a Halloween event that we actually put on Eventbrite, and that brought us 1,200 people. Okay, yeah. God did that, right?
Hello.
Yes. And then we actually, Mr. Sanchez, he openly shares this. He went to prison when he was 17. He came out of prison, and we are a second chance opportunity because so many felons, they come out, or ex-felons, pardon me, they come out, and they don't have the opportunity. The people say, no, you can't have housing. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that.
You can buy a house.
Right? Exactly.
Very few out there that help.
Right, right, absolutely. And how do you expect somebody to integrate into society in a normal way? And again, Anthony Sanchez showed that to me. He was somebody who came in, he had 10 years on him. So he's in his late 20s now. He was in at 17, and we're like, damn, that guy never even got a fair first chance. Right? Nobody offered him a fair first chance, or he might not have ended up in that place.
Right.
And so then we hired him in Northwest Educational Center. And he is now part of the community outreach team. Him and I and Toledo and some other people, we launched it. And then from there, we partnered up with Grizzly Hood News. Shout out to Grizzly Hood News, you know. And we did a toy drive. We held a toy drive, and that had over, I think it was like 1,500 people or something. You know, we raised some great money. And what we did is we bought toys for everybody who was not financially able to afford toys. And they got to come in, and families got to go through, and we had it set up like a store, so you get to go, and we did it by ages, so the kids could come in and pick what they wanted, you know. So it was a
Dignified experience.
beautiful. And then we're like, how do we carry that on? So we started reaching out to alternative schools. The statistics show that kids who are in alternative schools who graduate end up in prison. There's a high statistic of that. Well, they're already feeling like the world doesn't want them, you know. Going out to speak to one of the kids, you know, he had pulled us to the side and he said, I just lost my brother a couple months ago. Of course it's acting out, right? Of course. It's pretty, you know? And so, like, then we see people like him, and he, like, felt inspired after he spoke. You know, like, there's still opportunities for you guys. And then we got partnered in with, we just dropped by the Salvation Army, and we introduced ourselves to Kenneth. And shout out to Kenneth at the Salvation Army, because then we were talking about it in class and having these kind of conversations. And a student was like, I used to work in the foster care system. They get kicked out at 18. You wouldn't believe how many 18-year-olds are sitting on the streets. So then we went to the Salvation Army house, met Kenneth. He invited us out to their spring event. Then he invited us out to the event that you were at that I got to meet for Sheldon. Shout out to Sheldon.
What's up there, good dude?
Yeah. And then that's where we met. So it's all just been kind of like a connection of just following heart.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, letting the universe guide us. And it's put us in connections with some brilliant leaders, man. Shout out to all. The one thing that I will say about the Pride team, Wendy, Miss D, I mean, all of these beautiful, Rain, these beautiful, beautiful humans, is that they cared so much.
Oh, yeah.
15-minute mandatory breaks, hour mandatory breaks, making sure that we were hydrated. So shout out to you guys, because that was the most beautiful experience I think we've ever gotten to experience. Well, I speak for myself, but I've ever gotten to experience, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess I've talked enough. Man, I have a lot to say. I'm a talker. Don't get me started.
But you know what? I think that's a really great segue into why we're here. You know what I mean? Like, because of your obedience, because you decided to serve, because you decided to show the fuck up, right? Like, I was telling Jensen earlier, like, you know, I'm really not here for the uptight, creepy shit. Like, let's comfortably talk about what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, so you can know what we do and why you should support us, right? Like, I was just talking to a friend today who needs a second chance. I'm gonna send him to your website because I know that there are opportunities. And what's so beautiful is when you say something like, let me know what you need, because I promise you I'm resourceful. And at the same instant, it's an honor to be in a room with people who have so much intention of greatness, right? Like, what were you doing does not matter. But now that you're where you are, like, how do you feel?
I feel blessed. It makes me kind of emotional because I think, like, you know, Jensen and I were at a place where maybe a couple months ago, I was like, at the beginning of the year, we're like, we want to make it this year. And I'm 37, so, like, I have this anxiety that time is against me because I suffer really badly with anxiety. And time is against me. And I'm starting to kind of let go of that control. And it's been a process, but it was really cool because I was just telling Jensen, I actually watched a TikTok because, I got on TikTok. And I watched a TikTok where it said, sometimes there are big moments that, are happening, marriages, birthdays, anniversaries. But then there are these moments of impact that happen in between, right? And those moments of impact, you don't know they're happening when they're happening. And, right? Exactly. And then we look back and I'm like, you know what? Maybe we aren't where I wanted to be, but that's the control. I want to be here right now, right? Instant gratification. But we're so much further than I could have ever imagined and have been. I don't know. The way that I planned it never looked like this, but I'm glad that this is what it is because I think we've experienced things that we have watching people walk away with nice haircuts. And even if they aren't taking our no-cost program, let me say that, even if they say no to that, we say, hey, let us get you ready for a job. We give them haircuts so that there's job readiness. And, just, I don't know, the way that people stop us and say, hey, man, like, we got to talk at a women's prison. We were invited to talk in at the women's prison. And, going up there and being able to inspire a group of people and to feel like, man, like, something I said was impactful. Like, that was, I think, those are the overwhelming parts of it. So I think, more than anything, like I said, I just feel blessed and grateful, Yeah. And in moments like this, like talking about it right now, it reminds me,
like, hey, y'all.
it's like my hands are shaking. It reminds me that, like, it's so much bigger than, I can, and there are hard days, there are days where I'm like, real hard days. But then whenever, like, long nights and stuff, but whenever things like this come to fruition, meeting beautiful people like this, being invited into a space, I don't know, it's a lot of goodness.
I want y'all to know about some people who are not able to be here in this moment because of circumstances that are completely understood, right? Like, Candace Joseph, she'll be on next week. She has an incredible platform of opportunities for conversations to be had and individuals to know what they have access to as well when it comes to art and creativity. And I know y'all have another thing that you do on the side outside of, like, teaching people how to maintain themselves dignified. What's that about?
So are you talking about our own business? Faded HTX. So we started Faded HTX LLC, like I said, during COVID, and we just wanted to launch as an educational team to teach people everything we weren't taught. There's a lot of people, there are people, and we did this before we do this a lot. We ask people, raise your hand. We saw it on TikTok, right? So everybody raise your hand, right? So you raise your hand. Most people will raise it like this. There are a lot of people who raise it like this. Very few people who raise it like this. And so in this Instagram, we're always looking at things that will inspire people because we're in front of a classroom. In this Instagram, the guy goes, now look at everybody who's at half potential. Why do I have to tell you to reach full potential the full first time, right? And everybody looked around, and there were some people full potential. And I actually was one of those, I was like, I'm up here, see me, right? Like, hear me, like, I'm here, right? And it's like, you shouldn't have to be reminded, but everybody's different. So some people need that guidance. That's why some people are meant to be mentors and some people are not. Some people are meant to be mentee, right? Yeah, baby barbers or whatever the case. That's what we call them. But, like, and so I think Faded HTX was that. Like, at first it was, we wanted to go out and just educate the barber community and give everybody to educate that, being a barber and cutting hair is only 17% of what you can do with your license. You have hair coloring, you have relaxers, waves, you can do manicures. Why do we do manicures? Because hair and nails are made of keratin. So the education behind it, giving people, because we believe in, like, not the vintage form of barbering, but heritage, to bring it forth, right? To bring that heritage forth and to bring it into the new age, but still have respect and give homage, right? Pay homage to that. And so we really firmly believed in that because we view it as an art. And then we got into this side and it became something more. And then, we did a marketing class and we just started teaching our students something we paid for. We were like, man, we're going to teach them. Let's give it away for free, right? And so we started teaching people only what we knew. We could only set up our page the way we knew and what we saw and what we researched, and we give them the mistakes that we made. So then by doing that, then the school asked us to be a part of the marketing team, and so then we kind of launched the marketing team. So it's like we have so many different hats.
All of the same.
Yes.
All of the cutting same.
Yes, but it's so cool because the school, they're so gracious. They let us put our logo on there because we are a team, and so they hired our team. And so we're very blessed. That's why we felt like we want to stay with the school because we believe in what they do.
You, and it's a further third.
Yes,
absolutely. I love that. So let me ask you, Jensen, if you were standing in a room of, say, a graduating class of cadets, walking into Houston as police officers to serve and protect people that you want to protect. What would you tell them would be one of the most beneficial ways to be supportive to the communities that are marginalized, whether it be black, brown, or people of queer experience?
To be inclusive. Yeah, a lot of people forget to be inclusive, but they only target a certain amount of demographic, and I think that's right. So I would say more so to just live for the community, you know, because if nothing, there's the community will always be there for each other.
Always.
Absolutely.
Always. You show up. I love that. So, in a sense of like Pride 365, do you wear your allyship, Jelly and Jensen? Like, do y'all wear your allyship out loud? Do you feel comfortable correcting people who might not be up to par with the nuances of how things are these days? They might be a little more antiquated with their terminology. Or,
Definitely.
yeah.
Like I said, probably my best friend showed me a lot. Just how much she struggled to just be herself. Like everyone deserves the right to be themselves. I have another friend, and they identify as they them, and it took them the longest time to just be them.
Yes.
And why can't you? Everybody's a person. Nobody's hurting you. Why are you so quick to judge?
Right.
You shouldn't be. They're just a person just like you, living their life. So if they were to judge you, how would you feel? Why can't you do the same for them?
I'm so happy to be talking about it. I have no idea. There are so many, there's so many shows to watch, right? There's so many things we can be doing right now live with your time. But having access to something that if you catch it right now, you're good. But even the playback of knowing that you can go have someone touch your hair with the energy of these folks, right? The kindness, the gentleness, the love. I've had the same person cut my hair since 2005. And when I wasn't able to get close to her, I wasn't getting my hair cut like, And shout out to Miss Annie. She's on Westheimer. Like I do not, I just have never let anybody else touch my hair. Your hair, your crown, regardless of the culture that you find yourself in, like it matters what you do with it and what you allow to touch it. And when you encompass that concept of you can't afford not to invest in your self-care, and a scalp scrub is different from your own washing of your hair. Like there's certain things that you should experience, if not but once, but more so to come learn what to do with your hands. And for anybody who has, a background and you have been unsuccessful with expressing yourself past anger, how wonderful would it be to transition you to a space of peacefulness with your fingertips? To learn how to touch with love and intention, to learn how to literally make someone go from indigent to feeling fucking beautiful. You deserve that experience because we are so magical. And what's great, last year was the first time People's Podcast had a Pride themed show. And while, we're we create, we deserve to be, right? Like I'm gonna tell you all the time, you deserve to come. Any room I'm in, you're safe. But at the same time, I mean it in all the